Hey guys, this is the rough draft of my video and I just wanted to explain it a little bit since it doesn't have the atavist and the writing to go with it right now. So it's basically going to be an introduction of just different people's point of views and perspectives on um, long distance friendships versus close to home friendships. Um, and it will have a video of people talking, so an interview, kind of like one of the ones we watched in class. Um, but the carrier library was all checked out of the video recorders until Tuesday, and this was due Monday. And so I have the audio, and then there's a blank background, but there's an example in the first one of what it'll kind of look like. So that's it.
They're worse than local friendships.
It depends on the person and the relationship that you already have, because I think that if a friendship is worth it, if a friendship is meaningful, you're going to make it work regardless of how far apart you are. Obviously, it's more fun to be near each other because you can do more things together, but some of my best friends from middle school, high school, or even elementary school and I have still remained friends due to distance, and I think that having distance apart has allowed us to become closer because we aren't together all the time, and so we've gotten to know each other on a deeper level just because we have less time to figure it out. But I do really value the people that I live around and with because they're there for you every second of the day, and so you kind of get closer to them faster.
I would probably consider them to be more difficult to maintain than local friendships, but I don't think the quality is necessarily better or worse. I guess it depends on the quality of friends you have, but other than that, I can't really say anything definitive.
I wouldn't say that they're better or worse, but I would definitely say they're different and they have their own hardships and benefits.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't see a big difference between them, just because I feel like no matter like where you are in a friendship, like how far away you are, I think they can just like be the same, like just how close you are really.
I think it's not a better or worse thing. I think it's harder to maintain in long distance friends.
I think that they're worse than local friendships because you aren't able to communicate and keep in touch as much, and that's the foundation of a friendship.
Both have like their strengths and weaknesses. I mean, I'd like some of the long distance friendships to like. It'd be better if you could like actually like meet up and stuff. I mean, there's Skype and stuff, so that kind of fixes that. But like local friendships are easier to, I guess, you can like instead of just talking on the phone or texting, it's more like emotional, like body language and all that.
I don't think either is really better. I think they're just different because long distance relationships are definitely harder just because you're not there with that person.
Local friendships are like easier because it's easier to get together and you don't have to worry as much about when you're going to be able to call them next or if they're going to be busy, because it's easier to like see them in person, and that adds a more like personal connection.
With local friendships, I guess there's much more of a element of being able to meet face to face, of being able to have that conversation take place. And I guess with long distance relationships, even if you use obviously VoIP technology or phone calls or anything like that, you still miss that personal element. I would say that long distance friendships as a whole probably a little less strong on average for everyone else, but I think as long as people can put forth the effort to maintain them, then they should go along pretty well.
Local friendships, you're kind of there with that person and you're experiencing life with them in like a more physical way, but I think long distance relationships, you are still, since you're still communicating with them, be it through technology or just handwritten letters, you're still experiencing life with that person just in a different way because it's more over like written communication or maybe like verbal and not nonverbal.
I mean, they can be nice because like I know some of my best friends, so I have good friendships with them, and they're like at different colleges and stuff, so it's a ways away, and I know some people in different countries actually that you keep up with and stuff. It's harder to like keep that steady because you're so far apart.
I think it's the small things, like keeping up with what you did at class that day and what you got to eat, and little things about whether or not you caught a cold and like if you're feeling well that week. those types of things are things that only your local friends will experience, just because out of need of time, especially in college, your day just doesn't have enough time to always incorporate maintaining a long distance friendship.
You can be much closer with someone who's hundreds of miles away than you are with people that are closer to you. It just depends on how strong their connection is.
First, I went to Sweden over spring break, and so I've been able to keep in contact with the friends that I've made through social media. And those friendships are really important to me because I never knew how much I would have in common with people from another country. Also, my boyfriend worked in Africa for about 3 months, and so we were able to communicate using FaceTime and text messaging, and there's like an app for couples where you can just have like your own conversation. But I think that you can make it work if the friendship's important enough to you.
It varies a lot based on the culture. I mean, I made friends with people in a lot of different places. I've talked to people in Ireland, South Korea, Sweden, Canada. I mean, they're all different. A lot of what we discuss is culturally rooted. A lot of how we approach certain issues might be culturally rooted. I think especially in some countries, there's much more of a tendency for people to be more reserved for longer than what we might tend to experience in the United States. In some countries, it might be a little quicker of a process.
I do not have experience with international friendships. When I went to Italy, there were some people I met, but it was always under like the understanding that like, oh, like we could hang out for like that, like those few days before we went to a different city, but then you were gonna leave, so it was just kind of like understood that that friendship wouldn't last beyond the time that you were there.
To some degree, I feel like it can be even more powerful to have a long-term relationship or long-distance relationship, just because like I know when I come home to see my brother, he always like is like a lot more happy to see me because like and when I'm around all the time, I guess like we're kind of like used to seeing each other and like you don't really see like that same like excitement to see you because like I feel like you really see how strong your relationship is and your friendship is when you're far away from each other for a long time because you're able to see that you're able to like retain that.
Like being around someone, like you think about them more, so like you're more likely to have small talk. Like for example, one of my best friends, she's like goes to college like hundreds of miles away, and like we're best friends whenever we're at home, but like I don't really think about her too often because she's so far away, and so like you just like seeing someone around is a lot like you think about them more and you're more likely to talk to them. Like you can text them, but like not really. Like you say if you like if you have like iMessage or like through Facebook Messenger or something like that, but it's a lot harder to get into contact with. Like, so my friend in Germany, we don't really talk all that much, but like we can Snapchat like very like relatively often. So